think we can put up with a little bit
I was
of
going to
noise
say,
for
I
a second.
can't hear it now.
Yeah. So if anyone's listening and you hear a bit of drilling,
Oh, we're on. Okay.
I don't know, are we?
Are you recording?
We can be.
Okay, sure.
It's recording.
Perfect.
Do you want to use this opportunity to plug a little bit about your summit?
Oh, straight off the bat.
Why not?
Fuck it. All right.
Well, I just got an email from you this morning actually saying that your prices are increasing.
Yeah, that increases tonight. The summit's been good. It's basically, I just figured there's nothing for someone to understand the whole holistic journey of fertility. Mm-hmm. There's nowhere to go. Because most people rely on knowing someone like yourself or someone like me and then having like a sideline conversation with them and then being like, oh, I didn't realise you had all these options when you got pregnant, or I didn't realise you had to do all of this stuff before you had a baby. And I'm like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I'm just going to put together a online summit, whatever you want to call it, interviews. It's a one-stop shop. And now all you bitches know what you need to do.
So what does it look like? How does it get delivered?
It's basically just through videos. So it's 9 separate interviews that you can watch at any different point.
Yep.
And they've all got different subjects to them, I guess, right? So you've got men's health, preconceptive care, pregnancy.
Oh, so you talk about the fertility from a male perspective as well?
Yeah, Ben's on it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Ben can't.
I've seen some of the highlights and the snippets from it. It was interesting, some of the sperm stuff about heat. Yeah.
Did you know he said...
I didn't know he knew so much about that.
That's what I said to him, even though I had him on the summit. I was like, you know a lot about sperm, which makes sense because he does have 3 boys, so I should have guessed that. But one of the things that just blew my mind was if you're a bloke and you're sitting down for 15 minutes, your testicles increase by 1 degree, which decreases your fertility. You might be which decreases your fertility by 40%.
40%, 1 degree, 40%. Over what time duration?
That I don't know. Yeah, but because we were talking about the whole like icing the testicles and when is that beneficial? Yeah. God, that's loud, isn't it?
I told you it would be loud.
It's all right. Everyone listening, it'll be done in a couple of minutes.
I know. Welcome to Regent Street. It'll be nice soon.
It'll be nice soon, yeah. Yeah, so that's crazy.
That is crazy.
You know, and like...
And you think about how many blokes actually are spending the majority of their time sitting down at a desk.
Yeah, and he spoke about, like, it's not even to do with your, like, fat levels or, you know, being obese.
Just more the position and the heat that the body produces.
And if you're a guy who trains, like, you're going to have big hamstrings, big quads, and it's just...
It's probably magnifying that heat. That
Correct.
swamp ass.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's part of the summit.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I just think that that's the information that people need to be aware of.
Okay. So it's essentially a 9 series, you said?
Yeah.
9 series interviews. Of videos, and you sign up for the summit and you've got permanent access to that.
Yeah. And then my goal is to probably do it biannually and just bring on more and more speakers every time we do it. And whether or not people who already have access just have automatic access, I don't know yet, but that's my goal. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, just have like a one-stop resource for
people.
It
launches, it's already launched?
Already launched.
At the pre-sale price.
Today's the last day of early birds, which doesn't matter for this podcast.
No, you're too late.
Suckers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Today's price is not yesterday's price.
Yeah, so that's been happening. I was actually going to say to you before we hit record, but we're recording. Today is a good day to do a podcast.
Why?
I was just in a spicy mood.
Good, I like spicy hole. It must be, you're going to Europe. That's got to have a little bit to do with it.
Well, yeah, I'm going to Europe. We bought a house that we have to heavily renovate, which I'm just...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, overwhelmed by.
It's a great idea in...
It's very romantic in fantasy land.
Yeah.
And then once you get into reality, living in inflated Australia.
In a construction site.
No, I'm just in a spicy mood in general. I think because I was talking about a particular person that we both know who's just started working with me off camera.
Yes.
But I've had a lot of people work with me this last probably a month where I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like that person that we were talking about, and if she's listening, she's going to know who we're discussing. But she was telling me that she had her eggs retrieved. She did egg freezing on the basis that she had low AMH, which is just such a bullshit fertility marker. And we can get into that if you want. I think it's like a gateway for fertility clinics to be like, ooh, you've got low AMH. You need to freeze your eggs.
I was just explaining to that person is that, you know, we're very blessed. We're very lucky to have a lot of the options.
Yeah.
But surgeons like to cut.
Yeah. And IVF clinics like to make money.
Whether it be with fertility and, you know, reproductive surgery, or whether it be fucking knee surgery.
Yeah.
Surgeons like to cut. Everyone is going to promote the services that they provide above and beyond everything alternative to that. It's a business.
For sure. Well, it is a business, because what this person was telling me is that she just felt like a farm animal, because she got there, got prepped for her surgery, woke up with a number, which I didn't realize they did this, but they put the number, like they tag you during the surgery of how many eggs they retrieve.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I know that they draw on you and shit, but
no, you wake up and it's like 8 on your hand.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, what? So they tagged her, and then she was saying as she left, there was already a woman prepped, ready to go for her egg retrieval, and it was just like this rotating door of like egg retrieval with women who all were probably in their 20s, mind you, so super fertile years. And I just think, what the fuck? Like, we've been so duped into thinking that that's normal. That's not normal.
No.
But we had.
But it's the typical.
We had Ange on the podcast.
Yeah, we did ages ago. Actually,
ages ago, and she obviously had her own journey of egg retrieval. But you just think, yeah, what is going on? So that's why I'm in a spicy mood.
Good. I guess you're providing people a fucking far better.
And then also it's like, I feel like people don't actually use critical thought a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. Like, how do you think that this is the best option at this point in your life?
Monkey see, monkey do.
That's true.
Just the sheep following the herd.
That's true. And
there's comfort in what's common.
That's very true.
Because as soon as you do anything that isn't, people will project their fear of that option onto you, or, you know, be quick to criticize.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's also the whole, if a man in a white coat's telling you.
There's the fallacy of authority there.
Correct.
For sure.
But just so much of the fertility space is just a load of shit, in my opinion. Like, there's a very small percentage of people or couples that genuinely need intervention. Mm-hmm. And that's usually because they've got structural abnormalities, potentially biological age. They're some of the factors. But if you're a woman who's early 30s and you have no real reproductive health issues, like, your first port of call shouldn't be IVF clinics.
No.
If you're not getting pregnant within 4, 6, 8 months, naturally trying, it just tells you that something is off.
Yep. And what does that journey of, like, going through your checklist look like? Okay, you failed to conceive naturally. What would be your first call of order there for investigation? Do you just go down the route of blood tests? Do you...
Yeah.
Yep.
Blood testing. I mean, you'd obviously try to want to figure out what's going on. What's their nutrition like? What supplements are they using? What's their partner doing? That's a really big one.
Well, I think that's only just starting to become, I don't think it's actually even starting to become known. It's just known because we operate in these circles, but the issue of fertility no longer being just a female issue, the little things like even polyester underwear.
Yeah, man.
You know, being effective as a contraception.
Yeah.
You know,
Heat
being a big one.
Yeah. So, and maybe you could speak to this. I feel like there's a lot of blokes using steroids that
shouldn't be. Fucking oath. Because again, it's
and that's going to obviously impact their fertility. That's why I'm mentioning it.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I reckon there's blokes out there that don't realise that. They would just associate, hey, high testosterone, high sperm. No, it doesn't. It's actually quite the opposite.
Right.
So they're going to get shut down. And especially if they're using something that's got a long ester, so a long half-life, that's going to only magnify the shutdown of sperm production. And I guess these things are correlated exponentially with the more that you take, the more risks or uncertainty you're opening yourself up to. But you're right. I think steroid culture in general has just continued to grow and spread throughout society, and that's I've met so many guys over this time that one of them was a club owner, and he looked like shit, and it's like you're partying 4 nights a week,
Yeah.
but you're smacking.
But was he doing that because he felt like shit and he had low testosterone?
No, because he's trying to get the gains.
Oh, okay.
But there's so many people these days are just bypassing the prerequisites for what it actually takes to build a good physique, whether that be the nutrition fundamentals, whether it be good sleep and recovery, whether it be adequate hydration, electrolytes, whether it be training properly, actually knowing how to push, how to create tension, understanding, anatomy even in the most basic sense of, okay, what is the function of this muscle rather than just lifting weight from A to B.
Yeah.
There's so many things that can go into improving their performance before that, but
Bypassing the fundamentals is such a good slogan because that is the epitome of why people, in my opinion, have a lot of fertility issues.
Yeah, and but it's what's I think it's all tied into just the progression of society and technology. It's just because everybody's become even more impatient when we want something, because everything that we want is at the tip of our hands. So if there's a fast forwarded pathway to get there, most people are going to jump at it, and the more people that do, the more it normalizes that decision and that behavior, which is breaking down, a negative stigma of steroids. And, I spoke about it heaps on other recent podcasts, particularly with women too. Women taking steroids.
Really?
Do you get many? You don't obviously get too many clients.
It's probably not who I attract, yeah.
But, I feel for the female population when they're having aspirations to, look a certain way, while they're probably also sharing the aspiration of, having
Motherhood.
good fertility and motherhood, right? And we know that you being extra lean is not going to help you in that conquest.
No.
Nor would I assume is taking male hormones and
What are we
androgens.
talking about here? Because I would say from the sidelines, I see a lot of WBFF,
all of that. They're all on Anavar.
Yeah, but they're all doing IVF as well. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I don't need to name names, but there's big platforms.
And that's the thing, is that these chicks that you're idolizing, they're not living normal lives of working a job, being a mother, or aspiring to be a mother, and they're using male drugs. And the reality of it is that's going to make the side effects way worse. You're going to be more susceptible to side effects from taking male drugs as a woman than what a man is.
Just because,
just
we shouldn't be taking them?
Because it's even more foreign.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we've spoken about it before. Depending on what it is, and obviously the duration and the amount of it that you're taking is, deepening of the voice box. You want to sound like me. Enlarged clitoris. That's a big one, literally. And I think one of the things that doesn't get discussed on the topic of PEDs, whether you're male, whether you're female, it doesn't really matter, is that it changes the neurochemistry, right? So, guys particularly that have been, how many times have you heard the stories of people like, oh, I'm not on cycle at the moment, I'm just on my maintenance dose.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, you've been running large amounts of gear and then you jump off and now you run a maintenance of maybe, 1 mil, 250 milligrams of testosterone a week as your maintenance, and consider that not being on. But the vicious cycle of it is, if they go cold turkey, they're going to feel uber depressed and have
Right.
no drive. And that's the thing, like testosterone makes you feel good. There's a correlation between low testosterone and mental health and depression. So obviously taking large amounts of testosterone makes you feel like Superman. So it's just like that becomes your new baseline of normal.
Yes,
Right? It's no different when people are getting through life feeling suboptimal. That's just their normal. They don't know the chronic pain and how shit they're actually feeling because it's just normal.
So they get stuck in that cycle.
So they get stuck in that cycle.
Well, I feel like that's a big issue in the fertility space. Like even this person we're referring to that we both know that I spoke to this week, her partner's taking testosterone.
I'm not surprised.
And I said to her, well,
That's...
if you want to have a baby...
Stop worrying about your responsibility.
Yeah.
He's infertile right
and
now.
they were both shocked. They're like, wait, what? And I'm thinking...
And this is the thing, right? Like...
what do you mean, what?
I think the movement of TRT is a positive thing because it's going to improve the quality of life for many men as they enter their late 30s, 40s, and so forth. Because as we've just assessed, it's not about trying to look like Ronnie Coleman. That's about maintaining a sex drive, being able to recover from training, having good drive, enthusiasm, all the things that testosterone's positive for. But when we look at the dosage and the way that that's administered in terms of the half-lives and the dose, so normal, like on average, a TRT could be, 1 milligram per kilogram of body weight.
Right.
But it could be less than that too. And it's going to vary a little bit depending on the individual and what they feel good on. There are some people that go over that and they actually feel worse. And at the same time, this isn't something you should just be, backyarding and administering
But a lot of
yourself.
people do.
But they do.
Yeah.
And I can empathise with some of the decisions to do so, given the difficulty within the medical framework to actually get these things facilitated in Australia, because we're a bit behind where the states are. But as I even said, what people drop down to is like their maintenance thing of 1 mil of testosterone is, somewhere between 250 and 300 milligrams of testosterone a week in a single shot. So that's 2 to 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. And usually when we hear guys starting out on their first cycle, that's usually the starting point.
So that's just so high.
Yeah, it's
For a
high.
starting
It's high
point.
in comparison to TRT of what you need to feel better, but it's funny, right? Because if someone's 40 and they go on that small dose of TRT, they're probably just going to put themselves in a healthy range of what a young 20-year-old would be anyway. So I think before you fucking jumping on, which again 9 out of 10 wouldn't be doing, is getting some blood work done and seeing where you are.
Yeah.
Because testosterone is not and I think that's the fallacy, is that testosterone is not the only driving factor for muscle growth.
But it's not. But we've got there's muscle growth, but also, but the step before that is if you're jumping on it because you have low testosterone.
Why do you have low testosterone? Yes, there's other things that you can do to make massive improvements before that. Right?
Huge.
And I think if you're going to make that decision, we always say we're pro-choice. You make your choice. We'll help you make it as intelligently as possible. But I think you should do that over multiple blood tests too, because we know that there's going to be huge fluctuation in your bloods day to day, depending on variable factors.
True.
Did you sleep? Did you train? What did you eat? How's your stress levels? All of these things are playing somewhat tug of war with one another. And it's almost like doing your scale weight. We know that we fluctuate on the scales as well. So you want to take the average probably of those things before making a definitive decision. But it's an issue that I'm seeing. Like, there was another one not that long ago. I don't pay attention to that world, but I still see it through being associated in fitness. And that's another young bodybuilder dying.
Oh,
Right?
I think I know. Are
Yeah,
we talking about the Joe guy?
Maybe.
Is this the
He's a
French?
pommy French.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
the
maybe
French
French. Sorry, my eyes twitching. But this is the thing here. You don't have to be a fucking genius to connect some dots here and go, these guys are dying young,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Why?
look at Poliquin.
Yeah, he died young too. He was also a big cokehead, but he's
Was
definitely
he?
yeah. But he also he's definitely used PEDs. But you look at the dosages we've talked about. TRT, we'll call it 1 milligram per kilogram of body weight, but probably starting lower than that even. It's a lot easier to add more than it is to take some back out. The typical starting dose is sort of somewhere between 2 and 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. Probably the most, if you were discussing performance enhancement, like the sweet spot for, an athlete cheating, would be probably somewhere between 3 and 5 milligrams per kilogram of body weight of total levels. But when you start to get to that level and anything beyond, which people do go beyond, you're also starting to be in the realm of hypertrophy of cardiac tissue.
Oh.
Now you're going to die. So it's like you're making these decisions for what reason, but I don't think most people have a clear understanding on the decision that they're making because everything has a price. And you are quite literally, if you're taking that amount of gear, you're taking years off your life. I don't give a fuck what anyone says.
Well, what's that saying? I'm so bad with sayings. You take from Paul to pay Pete.
Take from Paul to pay Pete? I've never heard that before. Can you elaborate?
So what is the saying? Far out. I'm so bad with sayings. I always mix sayings together. Like you're robbing from somebody to pay the piper, or whatever that saying is.
We'll do a bit of Googling later.
But anyway, my point is, what you're saying is what you do now, yeah, sure, you're feeling good now, but you're cheating yourself at a further point in your life.
Yeah, it's just, it baffles me. It baffles me, yeah. It's like if there's not a serious...
I just feel like there's a huge conspiracy here.
What do you mean?
Again, IVF. They need people to have shit sperm.
Yeah.
And load test and be on these sorts of things because cha-ching. It's like, you can't get pregnant. They need women to be on the contraceptive pill from age 14 to 30 because cha-ching.
Are people still being pushed the pill really early?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of parents...
Because I feel like there's more women that I speak to, at least. I feel like there's more and more women now that are refusing or against the pill than what there was when, let's say, I was 15, 16.
Potentially, but I would probably argue that a lot of parents are making that decision for their daughters.
Yes.
Because if their daughters are sexually active...
They just don't want a kid.
They just don't want a teenage pregnancy.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I kind of observed growing up, and I don't know because it's not my circle, but...
I mean, there's definitely more information about the contraceptive pill not being great for you.
Yeah, like I feel like a lot of the female clients that I have, they're not on the pill, but then at the same time, there's probably a bit of a bias there because they're attracted to me in the first place because they've heard me talk about these things and it obviously align with them.
Yeah, I think so. But we're not working with 15-year-olds, though. No. We're working with late adults. 20s, yeah. So, yeah, I just, women get their hormones fucked up from a young age. Men start to get their hormones fucked up because maybe they want to look a certain way at 20 and then they don't feel very good, so they stay on the test in their late 20s, early 30s. And now all of a sudden, those two people are 32, maybe 35, and they try to have a baby. And it's like, it's not happening after 4 or 5 months. And as you said before, everybody wants that instant, thing to happen. And then they go, oh, well, it's not happening. We need to get help. And most people only understand help to be a doctor. Yeah. So there's a lot of money in these industries. It just grates me so much. Because
I get it.
And then imagine, right? See, I told you I was in a spicy mood. Imagine if you charge somebody $30,000 for your services, zero return on investment.
Yeah, there's nothing they can do about it either.
But do you reckon that person would complain and get annoyed and probably try to get a refund?
Yeah. I'd be
not with IVF.
Sent to the wolves. They'd be coming at you with a cross on fire.
Yeah, but not with IVF.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like this sunken fallacy that people get into because they're like, oh, well, I've paid the money, so now I'm just going to stay on this train because I've invested, it has to work at some point.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden, I mean, some people can be in the whole 50, 100 grand. And they're still putting faith in this industry. That's what's mind-boggling to me, that I'm like, wait, whoa. You've done 10 stim cycles at this point, let's say. And there's no result but you're going to go in for an 11th stim cycle.
Yeah.
Like, are we not using our brains here?
And what are the reasons why it wouldn't take?
In IVF?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a whole host of different reasons depending on, what person you're looking at, what their fertility problem is. But, like, it's artificial insemination. Like, you're going, in a very, very basic sense, you're going so far against nature.
Yeah. I've heard you talk about it, I can't remember the detail, but the connection between oxytocin and people having, like, the intimacy there and
there's been research where they've looked at IVF couples who have had their they've had their embryo transfer, and then they've had those couples have sex, and they have a better success rate of implantation because the sex, first of all, the cervix helps to, like, suck in the embryo to the endometrial lining, but the production of oxytocin increases the implantation chance. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
Right? But then, having worked with a lot of women who go through IVF...
They're probably not in the mood for having sex straight after that process.
Nah, like, you're having so many things poked and prodded and pushed in there, and you're often, a lot of the time, on suppository progesterone, which dries you out down there. So, like, sex is not something most women want. But, yeah, like, sex can definitely improve your chances.
What about with miscarriages? I feel like I'm hearing about a lot of miscarriages.
Well, do we want to talk about the elephant in the room
there?
Or?
I don't.
We'll put that to the side.
But if you're listening...
and
you've got half a brain, and you've listened to this like me and Holly talk before, you know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yeah. I actually know one girl who owns a gym, super healthy, doesn't drink. Like, I know for sure she's super healthy. She's on 4 miscarriages now.
Is it to do with sometimes low progesterone? Because
I'm just referring to what we were just talking about, because she's also had 4 of the other
and at the end of the day, like, what's done is done, and people have made their decisions, and there's nothing you can do about that. I'm not even throwing shame at it. It's just more outside of that, in normal circumstances, what are some of the things that could be contributing risk factors for...
Well, for example, if you sleep less than 8 hours, that's a risk factor for miscarriage.
Okay.
If you have endometriosis...
So again, very basic fundamentals here.
Basic, man. Yeah. If you have endometriosis, you're at a significant increase of miscarriage.
Yeah.
Just due to the amount of inflammation present in the womb. Like, other things would be underlying hypothyroidism. So if you had thyroid antibodies that weren't picked up, that severely increases your risk for miscarriage. Certain types of nutrient deficiencies increase your risk. Like, there's a whole host of basic health stuff that people can improve upon to minimise their miscarriage risk, for sure. 80% of miscarriages take place in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy, and 50% of that 80% are due to chromosomal abnormalities, which usually are a byproduct of the sperm. So that's the other thing. Bad sperm actually is a big player with miscarriage rates.
Yeah, right.
So, that's why, as a male, in that preconceptive phase, it is actually really important that you get healthy for 3 months before trying to make a baby, because you can severely influence your partner's pregnancy journey.
Yeah.
And as women, we definitely take on the burden.
I know the stubbornness of males annoys me in this type of conversation.
Like, I work with couples mostly now, and just some of the shit, like the excuses, I'm like, what? I'm literally asking for 3 months. 3 months.
Yeah.
For you to not drink alcohol. Like, how?
But alcohol's
so
still
hard?
such a big part in so many people's lives, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a huge part. I mean, you've been sober what now? A year?
More.
Wow, man.
Alcohol wasn't really ever my thing, but I haven't taken any hard drugs or been intoxicated for 13 months, I think.
And, like, how are you feeling for it?
I feel good. It's more just I don't know if it's just the desire for those things just
gone.
just more so gone. Yeah, just in seeing you know, what experiences you know, drugs and alcohol have given to me in a positive way, and then seeing that that relationship started to create more negative experiences.
For sure.
And even looking at, well, we know that we're a product of the people that we're spending our time with, and the people that I would, you know, your environment and your behavior are always interlinked, right? So looking at who I'm spending my time with, where are they going with their lives, you know, reflecting on my own behavior or decisions in certain moments and not feeling good about those things, and just seeing that it doesn't have as much of a place, you know, in my life.
Do you think that's because
anymore.
you're more fulfilled now with where you are in life? I mean, I don't know how much I'm allowed to share on here. I think everyone knows you're engaged.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, you've got a really good relationship with your partner, your business is doing well, you know, which are things that obviously weren't happening maybe 5 years ago or even 3 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There was 100%. I think drugs and alcohol in general have always been a big escape for me from the reality. I even look back on like when I was 18 and started going out then and was just fucking eating pills like Tic Tacs.
Bro, I was 14.
Were you 14 when you had your first pinger? Wow.
My poor brain. I always think like...
I was 16.
It's still so young.
Yeah.
Like, I always think like...
What pill was it?
I think it was... oh, this is a good question. What was the one with the moons?
White?
Blue moon? No, white moon?
Yeah. Mine were green Mitsubishis. I'll fucking bang it.
I have not heard of those in a long time.
Green Mitzes. Yeah.
But I just always think, like, imagine how much more smart we could be.
Do you really think that?
I do.
See, I'm still a bit twisted and think maybe I'm smarter because I did do it.
Really? Yeah, but you've done a lot of psychedelics.
Yeah, but the point I was getting at is when I was 18, I really wasn't very comfortable with who I was, and had a lot of sort of just adversity and shit around me. And so I look back on it and I'd just be munted in the corner. It was like, I wasn't even having fun. Like, I'd go out and just be like, and I'm a very competitive person who likes to go hard in the paint with everything that they're doing. So I'd be sitting there gurning, fucked up. I'd be like, I can take ball. And it became this kind of like, it was almost like the voices in my head. It was like a conscious, there was a sober voice. It was like me versus the drug. And it was like, you can't beat me.
Wow.
So I was like, I can take more.
Okay.
That was like a reality of my mindset around drug taking for years. And then I didn't even understand it now, but I can look back on it and go, oh, you were just fucking punishing yourself.
Yeah.
And doing whatever the fuck you could do to just get some solitude from the reality, really. And then, thankfully, you know, I changed my ways and have had a lot of fun and a lot of positive experiences. And again, I think that come with different changes of environment, different changes in drugs, experiences, all of those kinds of things. But, you know, the truth is, just as you get a bit older, like, you don't bounce back from these things. It is damaging your fucking body. And I just, if it's not serving you positively, like, don't stop fucking complaining about it. Stop doing it.
Literally. It's so true. It's so true.
It's like you can't, you have a shitty week, Monday to fucking Thursday, and you feel good Friday again, then you get in the piss on Friday night just because it's a Friday, and that's your reason why you're a fucking miserable loser. Shut the fuck up.
Can we talk about this? Because I feel like at the moment, and I want to state that I am in a full agreement with this movement, okay?
Which movement?
Which is the psychology, emotional health, trauma.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this
movement.
up. Yeah, hit me.
I definitely think there's a lot of unconscious, subconscious stuff that's going on for people that's driving behavior and, you know, self-sabotaging scenarios like going out on the weekend and getting fucked up and then complaining about your life. However, there has to become a point where you just shut the fuck up. We can't blame our trauma anymore.
Oh, it's become like...
And you just actually need to facilitate change.
And it's bad in the fitness industry too. It's like, when the fuck did these PTs think they become the love child of fucking Dr. Joe Dispenza? Like, just what, you went to your first psychology session or you did some breath work and you had a fucking teary and now all of a sudden you're fucking qualified to help everyone else with their problems just because you got slapped in the face with yours all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It shits me, man.
Yeah, because something I often say to my clients who are already doing the work, yeah, so journaling, meditating, becoming more aware, I guess.
And they're all positive things. I encourage and tell people to do the same shit.
But awareness is one thing.
Yeah.
But that has to be followed up by behavior change, which I feel like that's the part that lacks. So you can be aware that you're doing the wrong thing for yourself by going out on the weekend and getting blitzed. But you're saying, I want to get healthy. That's a common one. But until there's actual behavior change, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the trauma thing really, really grates me. And I'm going to explain why. As somebody who has actually experienced what DSM-5 would classify as trauma.
Textbook.
Okay? When somebody says it's a traumatic experience for them and maybe they're referring to the fact that they broke up with their partner, I've got a problem with this. The buzzword of trauma has got to stop because it actually belittles people who have had genuine, like, could you imagine saying to a refugee,
Yeah.
oh, it's so traumatic, I just broke up with my girlfriend. It's like, bro, he got fucking stabbed 9 times from the Taliban and got on a boat and went to Christmas Island and finally made it here. You know? And we've got a friend where that happened to him, Jaff. So it's like the trauma buzzword, it's got to stop.
Yeah. It's
got to stop.
No, for sure.
And it's just an excuse for a lot of people. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, it definitely is. And, you know, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because a lot of it's positive, and I think there's
most of it's positive.
And I think there's, when we look at like polarity and masculine, feminine energy and stuff, a lot of blokes can maybe find themselves a bit more centered and grounded to find some safety in that female energy, perhaps, and be okay to be sad, all these kinds of things. But there's a part of it that's triggering for me, is it's like society's already weak.
Yeah.
And you're just becoming a fucking pansy. Like, I don't even know how to word it, but do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I get they're your problems, and it's great that you've opened that box. You've established some self-awareness. You've been able to connect some dots from your behavior today and maybe where that's originated from. And great, unless you make that change. But now you gotta get on. You gotta put it to the side.
Yeah.
And fucking get on with it.
It can't always be an excuse for how you live your life.
Yeah. And it's what sort of person do you want to be? And or more so, what are the things that you want to have in your life when you envision your life in 10 years, and what does it look like? Well, the reality is you need to be that person before you can have the things that person would have, and you need to do that for a long time without the reward of what comes with being that person.
I feel like, and maybe this speaks to the type of people, like with you and your clients, for example, I'm sure you've got clients who have great results, and then you've got clients who just don't get the result. But you're not saying anything different between the two.
No, not really. Yeah.
Not really. So what's the difference there? The difference is growth mindset versus victim consciousness.
Yeah, there's extreme ownership of people's circumstances and
And that is the only difference as to why somebody can't get to where they want to be. And I see it all the time. My clients who have a growth mindset, fuck, they crush it, man.
Yeah.
You know, those who want to stay in that victimhood, it's hard. It's hard to actually create the outcome that you're saying that you want. So sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's kind of what you're alluding to there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, one of the things I've even said to, whether it be my clients when we're having maybe it's a check-in, right? And something the week hasn't gone well. They've been a little bit derailed by X, Y, Z circumstantially. As I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with if you need to feel sad, feel sad. And I do this myself. Obviously, if this is happening one day of every week, we got a problem. But if every now and then I have a day where it's a kind of a day, I feel like shit, I'm not a positive person today, I don't want to achieve anything, I hate you and everyone else, and I know I'm being stubborn, I know I'm having a tantrum, but I'm aware of that, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to sit in bed and be a miserable cunt, and I'm going to enjoy it because that's what I need. But my rule is no 2 days in a row.
Right.
You are not allowed to do that.
But that's the behaviour change part.
Yeah.
So you've got the awareness, and then the behaviour change is you're not allowed to do that for more than a day.
Yeah, right. And what are some of the things that you can put in your tool basket that set you up for a good day? Waking up early, going for a walk, having a fucking cold shower maybe, eating the right food for breakfast.
Yeah.
Spending 20 minutes writing out some things that you need to achieve for the day. I don't know.
Do you know how good it feels to tick off your to-do list at the end of the day?
One of the I've kind of tried to steer away from daily to-dos. Do you still do lots?
Since becoming a mum, it's like I have so many things that just bounce in my head between business and motherhood that I'm like, time I think of something, I'm like, I got put it in my like list thing.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, I just go through and I just tick off what I've done. And it's like, it's stupid shit, yeah.
No, I get it.
It's
I
like,
have some,
I've
go to the post office.
Yeah, but it's like, I've actually fulfilled
Yes.
my duties for today.
And that's the difference between pleasure and happiness. You've been rewarded for something that you've had to work for.
Yes.
Right? But I have my to-do list, and some of those things may take me a year.
Yeah.
Right? So I might have a list of 20 things that are on my mind that like, this needs to be done, to be improved, to get me to X, Y, Z, right? So what I've been finding really effective lately is I've probably got at least 20 hours a week in my diary that just rolls over every single week.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just time blocked. So in these periods of the time, training's organised. In these periods of the time, I might be doing something that is completely unrelated to what I do professionally. Might be like an audiobook or something like that, or a certain podcast that I want to be listening to or absorbing. Then there's, client things. There's the Jungle HQ admin and membership inquiry stuff, whatever it may be, just so then I can let go a bit of my own anxiety on the daily to-do list. I'm like, fuck, I haven't got it done. And rather just have that big one,
so
and I work on the things on that big list in the time blocks.
And do you stick to your time?
Most of the time.
Yeah,
most of the time. As a mother, you would have to be a little bit more lenient and flexible with some of those things.
But yeah, true. But time blocking is a really effective strategy. Yeah. I do it as well. Like I'll set a timer for 60 minutes. I'll put my phone away, and I'm like, I've just got to work on this one task. And when my phone goes off, if I want to stop, I'll stop. And if I don't want to stop, I'll keep going. The biggest issue with having children, I can't believe I'm like one of these people now, but you can't get into a flow state.
No doubt.
That's where it becomes really frustrating being a business owner and a mum, because I rely on that flow state so much, especially in this creative space.
An hour of flow versus 4 hours of not, I take the hour any day.
Any day, bro.
And that's where, when we're talking about this time blocking, and I've been really fortunate lately as well, I've got a great group of clients that I'm working with, and most of them are in a very high performance role, or they run their own businesses too. So when we're having this discussion, it's like, yeah, I get work hard. Working hard is important.
Yeah.
You're not going to achieve anything without working hard, but efficiency is what we really care about.
For sure.
And so obviously while improving their energy through nutrition and lifestyle practices, minimizing stress, being organized is dramatically skyrocketing their performances across the board, whether it be emotional health, whether it be, you know, efficiency at work and productivity, whether it be body composition. They go hand in hand. Like how you do anything is how you're going to do everything.
Yep. So true.
Yeah.
I gotta go, bro.
You do.
I
I
go
know
on
we're
a
going down
flight.
short and sharp. You're going to, whereabouts in Europe are you going?
We are off to Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah, because Cam, my husband, is a strongman.
Oh, is he competing over there?
He's not competing.
We're just going to go watch some of the
There's
fucking
this
Vikings over there.
tradition in Scotland where...
You look excited about this.
Yeah, I'm pumped. You go find these rocks in the Highlands and you lift them. And in Scottish law or Scottish history...
Is he going to wear a kilt doing this?
Yeah.
Oh, mad.
When a man lifts said rock...
Holly's knickers get busy.
No, when a boy lifts said rock, they become a man.
Oh, okay.
So it's an initiation in the clans, basically.
Right.
It's actually pretty cool. Rogue did a really cool documentary on it. It goes for about 20 minutes for those who are interested. So we're literally going to Scotland to lift some rocks. So that's great. And then we're going to England, then we're going to France, and then we finish in Italy.
You're going to hate the food in England.
Yeah, I know.
It's terrible produce.
You're not the first person to tell me this. Yeah. So we've got an Airbnb. I'm hoping that I can just
Remember I lived there for 3 years as a kid.
Oh, I forget that.
I'll
have to find a market or something and just cook at home.
France and then Italy. Oh,
Yeah.
that'll be nice. That'll be really
Yeah,
nice.
and the produce will be amazing.
6 weeks?
In Italy, 5.
Well
Yeah.
earned though, Hol.
Thank you.
You've fucking busted your ass for as many years as I have, and you've just gone through newborn, and it's due.
Yeah, no,
So
we're
they're
excited. So it'll be interesting traveling with a 1-year-old, but
Yeah. Well, we will stay in touch. You enjoy yourself, and when you come home, let's
we'll do a
jump on
big
here
one
again, and we'll do a big one. We'll actually get Kyle in because he's a new daddy as well.
yeah.
So he's
Man.
busy doing new daddy things in the bubble.
I just always think of Carl like this.
Yeah, I can see that.
When I think of him, I just think,
And by then, maybe we're going into the car wash business.
oh, yeah, we can talk about that on the next pod if you want to.
Yeah,
we'll be
yeah.
closer to
I'm
actually achieving that goal by that point.
yeah. I've been brainstorming with a few people. Got some cool ideas.
Yeah?
Mm.
Okay.
All right. Easy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.